Thanks for joining us. I'm Genty with ARINGO, and today we are having a coffee chat. Shimri Winters and I will be discussing AI and how it impacts your MBA application. We really appreciate you coming today and joining us for this special topic, which is top of everybody's mind. How do you use it? How don't you use it? And we're going to cover all those topics. Just to make sure that you all know, we will be having an interactive chat today. So if you do have questions, please add them into the chat box and we'll be answering them either along the way or at the end of the day. I'll also send out the recording at the end. So thanks again for joining us, and we will get started now. All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So we're welcoming you here to our chat today, and I am joined by Shimri Winters, the head of our strategy team and an LBS alumni. And he is going to help us with tackling what is easily one of the biggest elephants in the room when it comes to applications. And we're going to talk about how to get ready for round one, and the deadlines and everything's kind of coming up. And so everyone's kind of like, okay, what are these tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, etc.? Is it a magic shortcut, or is it an all-time doom? Like, is it going to cause you problems and everything? So, Shimri, when you're speaking with applicants this month, what is the vibe out there? And are people terrified of AI, or are they more of overusing it?
So first of all, hello. I'm really excited to be here, and this is definitely, such an interesting topic. So, I love it. And to answer your question very shortly, are people terrified from it or overusing it? The answer is definitely both. It feels like everybody, every applicant, either they're embarrassed to tell us, so they're doing it secretly or not so secretly, are kind of asking themselves, why not use AI just to write my essays? Okay, so maybe it'll save me time. Maybe I'll get my application kind of, a bit to a head start versus other applicants. Or, maybe it won't. And maybe my application will be kind of thrown into the rejection pile because I used AI. And a lot of people are anxious and, not so confident about what to do here. And, there's really conflicting reasons why, you should use it or not use it. So, it's a good topic, and we're the experts. I hope at the end of this session, people kind of know what to do. I hope. Let's see.
Excellent. This is exactly why we're here today. So we're not going to give you this rigid lecture of saying AI is evil, don't touch it. Technology is obviously here to stay. It's been integrated into every part of life at this point. Instead, we kind of want to look at how you're going to do it realistically. Is it a co-pilot that can help you with steering your application in the right direction, or is it a complete killer of your admissions chances, right? So, spoiler alert, it can be both, and it depends entirely on how you use it. So, here's how we're going to dive in. Let's start talking about the dangerous side. How is it a chances killer? Shimri, walk us through the worst case scenario. What are the absolute biggest mistakes you can see candidates making with AI that completely destroy their odds at an elite M7 or top 15 program?
Yeah. So, I mean, we mainly work with candidates who are going for top MBA programs. So, that's our specialty. And obviously, there's two big pitfalls with AI. The first is letting AI decide what you want to write in your essays or what he wants to write in your essays. And the second is letting AI write your essays. Okay, so I'm putting, equal weight on both of them. Let's just talk about them for a second. When you let AI kind of, let's say, generate your strategy, or even just consult with AI, is this a good idea? AI will probably give you a very generic answer, which will probably he'll look at some kind of average or some kind of, database, which 100,000 other applicants are using AI, which is looking at the same average or database and kind of giving you a very vanilla flavor answer. So, for example, let's say I'm a programmer, and I don't know about my career goals, and I say to AI, oh, I saw a lot of MBAs go to product management. Is it a good idea to write product management in my short-term, long-term career goal? And I'm guaranteeing this. I could be the AI writer. I'm guaranteeing this. AI will say, that is a great idea, Shimri. Many MBAs go to product
AI
management at the
loves
end of the
you.
MBA. Yeah, I could be
You're the
AI.
smartest man in the room.
Yeah, no, I could be AI, because that's what AI is going to tell you. And Jen, guess what? If you just change that prompt a bit and say, I'm a programmer and I'm thinking of being a McKinsey consultant at the end of my M7 MBA. Is that a good idea? Guess what AI is going to say? Wow, Shimri, that is such a good idea. Many MBAs go to be McKinsey consultants at the end of your MBA. I think you should write that. What did you get out of that? Maybe some reassurance, but it's not worth much because it's just generic reassurance that it just kind of said, yeah, yes, you're right in your observation that many people go to consulting. That doesn't mean that's the right thing for you. So that's the first thing. That's like when you let AI kind of generate a strategy or even kind of, I don't want to say, it was your idea, but you kind of let AI kind of strengthen that idea. That's a big problem. And the
Yeah.
second problem, which is more known, okay, and it's obvious, is when you kind of let AI generate your essay. And this can lead to a lot of issues. I prepared a few examples. I hope we can show them soon, but it just leads to some issues. And it's so easy. I won't say it's lazy, but it's not. It's really easy to say, "Hi AI, hi Chat, hi Gemini. This is yeah, we can show the example soon, Jenna. But like
Okay.
um, this is the prompt that Harvard gave. Here's my CV. I have an idea. I want to be a product manager. Why don't you formulate a 500-word essay for me? Oh, by the way, chat, write like an 18-year-old, that came out of college, not in AI style. Wow, you're really cheating the system. So the problem is that when you do that, two things happen. Okay, and the first one is AI will write a very generic, nicely polished, very nice words, but emotionally empty, kind of a corporate speak essay, which just doesn't represent you in any way. Um, and it will overuse, words like, even if you tell him write like an 18-year-old, don't write with AI rhythm, ignore, change every third word. I know all the tricks. It'll still use a spearheaded in the fourth word and dramatically in the seventh. And there's also, even if it changes those words, there's this kind of rhythm that AI will use. And admission committee members read thousands of essays of thousands of applicants. So even if they don't have an AI detector, a lot of people ask us, do they have AI detectors? We'll touch that, but even if they don't, it'll just look so generic, so robotic. It just, they'll spot this a mile away. And the second thing, even if they don't spot it, whatever, they don't have a detector, it kind of strips out what you're trying to say. It strips out your messiness, your vulnerability, your uniqueness, your perspective, your human story. It strips it all out. And your essay sounds again like a corporate brochure. And this just becomes, more generic. A lot of people have it. And schools will look at you and say, okay, commodity is not someone interesting. It's not an asset. So those were the reasons. Very long, sorry, but good
No,
reasons not
Shimri,
to let AI write your application and not to let AI choose the strategy for your application.
no, I love it. And so I think that this is really a vital point, right? Like, so when we start talking about these top tier MBA programs, they're set up to be based on peer-to-peer classroom exchanges, right? So if your essay sounds exactly like somebody else who wants to go on IT consulting or is an IT consultant or finance professional, whatever it is, right? Like whatever your path is or was, then you're not really bringing anything unique to the cohort. So a lot of people are asking me, like you said, about AI detectors. So adcoms are actually the human beings that are the detectors themselves. Like you
Exactly,
mentioned, they
exactly.
can see this. And I mean, they're a normal human. They want to make sure you're a normal human. So if you're recommendation letter sounds like a busy manager, but your essays sound like a flawless, robotic PR release, then that's when the disconnect starts to break their trust, right? And so all schools have AI detectors in some way, but to be 100% honest, it isn't your problem, really. The problem is AI is kind of generically has those fixed rhythms that you were talking about. And if we change the name on our essay to someone else's, does it still make sense for you? And them, probably, who could know the difference, right? So,
Exactly.
Shimri, you prepared some slides for us. I got them lined
I
up.
prepared some examples, very short
So,
ones, one line examples. So I hope they're very short.
okay.
This is a good time to start asking questions because Jen did mention this will be an interaction session very quickly. We don't have many slides and much to say. We're just waiting for your questions. So I can see someone already wrote a question. I got a private question as well. Just write them, and Jen's very good at addressing them in 5 minutes. I think we'll get to addressing them. 10 maybe.
All right. So, Shimri, is this your slide? You want to start with this? I
If you
really
press a
love.
click, press. Oh yeah. First of all, sorry, this is very important for me. Okay, leave this. So just when the yes, yeah, no, I love the picture. So when the machines come and conquer the world, I just wanted to be clear that I'm an AI machine lover. Please, okay, don't metrics. Don't connect me to the metrics. But I think this actually is I just love this example so much. So I went into one of the AIs. I actually can't remember. I think it was Gemini, but I can't remember. Wait, Jen, you're giving the next slide. Go back, go back.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. You tell
So
me
I went
when.
into Gemini and I said, listen, Gemini, I'm doing a presentation about AI, or, it could have been Claude or Chat or Perplexity, whatever. I don't even care, Perplexity, or Copilot, one of them. And I said, listen, just, can you please show me, I'm a consultant. Can you please show me loving the five top AIs? Okay. And I wrote them, Gemini and Claude. Can you write them? And just look at what he produced. Okay, so I'm a consultant, right? So he put me in a jacket and tie. I'm not sure I said I'm a white male, but he kind of took that into account because I said I'm a consultant. Ha ha ha. And then he did lots of hearts, right? Do you love the hearts? And so I couldn't have thought of a more, I didn't give this more than 1 second thought. This is like the most generic graphics I've ever seen in my life, right? Like if I would have asked any of the five AIs to generate a graphics, I would have gotten exactly the same. But whoever I used, which I don't remember, actually did a mistake. Okay. And he wrote Copilot twice. So that's even worse. Okay. So A, it's just so generic, it's terrible. And B, it even did a mistake. So don't be lazy. Okay, this is a simple example to show you what AI does. Now let me show you some. Okay, Jen, I prepared three. Be with me. It's quite short. I prepared 3 lines, and I kind of showed AI the lines, and I said, "Can you write this better?" Okay, so these are. I just want to make sure that you understand. Real examples are very specific, are messy sometimes. Okay, when someone asks you your biggest achievement, it isn't, I got an assignment, I sold doubled my KPIs, and I got a nice bonus. No, the story is never like that, right? It's always a bit messy. It's always a bit personal, and that's fine. And AI cleans all of that, which is the main problem. So this was an example of a decision-making moment. Okay, we can use this kind of in a defining moment essay or even a failure essay. And Jen, if you can show what happened. Okay, so what happened, and this is the real essay that we used in these words. Okay, I disagreed with my manager. Okay, but I stayed silent in the meeting and spoke to him later. So this is an example of someone kind of what could you have done better? Obviously, raise my hand, not be shy, said that there was a mistake in the presentation and ignored the fact that I was junior in the meeting. There's a lot of retrospective thinking about this moment. But what did AI do? Completely delete the mess and said, I demonstrated leadership. That's actually the opposite of what happened to this guy. This guy stayed silent. I demonstrated leadership by confidently sharing my perspective. Actually, it went on later. Okay, so because he didn't raise his hand after, during the meeting, he went to speak to the boss later. no, this is not what happened. And where's the retrospective of, I could have done anyway. Good example. Very nice writing, right? Demonstrated leadership. I love the wording. It just doesn't mean anything. It looks like a temp. Next example. So this
Oof.
example, next example. So this is the same prompt. So this can be used like for failure story or like how you turned around the situation. And the real one is the project failed. Okay, so that's a bummer. And this woman that we worked with, a candidate, she was a client account manager. So she was the one, it wasn't her fault, but she had to go to a very frustrated client and explain, the delivery won't be on time. And unfortunately, the project failed and we didn't, reach whatever we wanted to reach. So it was a very good example of what she did. By the way, it was all about communication and how to communicate stuff. And she could have done it better. Basically, that was the bottom line. And I gave this to AI, and the bottom line was the experience taught me resilience and adaptability. No, it taught me communication skills, and sometimes, shit happens, and it taught me different things, definitely not resilience and adaptability. So, I gave him an experience. It just gave me other conclusions. Again, such nice wording, very nice. Oxford Dictionary will be so happy you use the words resilience and adaptability. It's just nothing connected to this story. Okay, last example, just to kind of show again, be careful when you're using AI. This is kind of a leadership claim. This was a biggest achievement essay, and there were this guy. He was a project manager, and there was some bottlenecks in the process in the project. Sorry, and he noticed the delays. He noticed where the bottlenecks were. He spotted them, and he changed the process to spot them. So it was good. Okay, so actually a good story. And then what AI said, I led cross-function. Oh, my favorite AI expression after spearheaded. Sorry, pivoted. Pivoted's my number one, spearheaded
Pivot.
number two, but cross-functional, I love it. I cross-functioned alignment to improve efficiency. I love those 7 words. I just no idea what cross-functional alignment to improve efficiency means, but I love those wordings. I mean, great words. So again, very generic. Okay, you get the point.
I love it.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Uh,
Very, very, very generic. Doesn't mean anything. It's not messy. It's not your tone. It's not your human voice. It's not your story. And like Jen said before, it's nothing to do with the AI detectors. It's to do with admission reps that read 1,000 applications. They can tell this, AI stuff from kilometers away.
Got it. I love it. I
Okay.
think that it was
Okay.
really fantastic to show that because honestly, like if I wasn't on the admissions consulting side and I was an applicant and I was going to write this, those 7 words would be fantastic to me. I would be like, yeah, we're using all of the keywords, buzzwords. They're gonna totally get it and they're gonna love this.
We're
Except
definitely
for
going to pivot cross, what was it? Cross
cross-functional
function
alignment and efficiency.
alignments. Yeah, great word.
But like the person who's reading this is going to be like, what does this even mean? Okay, so now we want to start talking about how you do use AI safely and ethically. So pure copy and pasting is out, obviously, but we don't want to completely ignore AI, and we want to kind of shift gears and talk about like how we can use it, and make your application better, sharper, or more efficient. Shimri, how can an
Efficient.
applicant,
Don't say that word.
yeah, efficient? How
Yeah.
what percentage of efficiency, right?
Yeah.
So Shimri, how can we use those tools safely without losing our unique voice and not getting caught?
Yeah. Not getting caught. Okay, so I think AI does shine, and I think obviously it's a brilliant tool, and we already discussed. Don't let it write for you the essays, and don't let it do the whole strategy and brainstorming for you. But you can definitely kind of use it, um, in a few ways. So a first one is if you kind of are stuck. Okay, so you know what you want to say, I'm gonna say it's a failure story and my boss gave me an assignment, and I didn't do it very well, and he gave me some feedback, and then I wanted to say kind of I implemented changes, but I'm not exactly sure how to, should I start, should I, how to structure? Yes, you can use AI for that. Okay, so you're not exactly sure, logical layout. Yes, you can use AI. Should I write this at the beginning? Should I write it at the end? Don't let AI write it for you. So that's one. The second one is kind of let's call it a sanity tone check. Okay, so if you write your essays on your own, you can definitely paste them into AI and say, first of all, are there any issues, grammatical issues, or even, language understanding issues? Okay, again, don't be tempted to kind of take his new suggestion and paste that, because that will be AI written. But maybe you can even ask more specifically, maybe, can you identify somewhere in this essay where you feel I can strengthen my argument a bit? Okay, but again, fix it by yourself. Don't rely on the AI prompt, and fix it for me. Don't do that. And again, last thing is, which I use AI a lot and I really like, is sometimes I'm over my word limit, over my word count limit, and I use AI a lot to kind of shorten sentences. Again, do not paste a 700 word essay and say, please write this in 500 words and keep my writing style. No way. That just won't work. It will be written in AI style. Okay, because you can't keep everything without changing, just a few things that will look very generic in AI. But what you can do is if you have 11 words, 12 words, and you need 8, you can ask him, where can I cut words? Or how can I rephrase this sentence? But again, be very, very careful with the 700 to 500 words. That's not going to work well. But 515 to 500, yes, you can identify a few places to cut down some words. So that would be the third place I would use AI.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so and I just want to add to that, Shimri, because I have definitely seen it used for helping with word limit. And I think there's some like really strong key indicators of like that AI has used this. Like the M dash is like the number one thing that they do because they'll put it instead of a space, they'll use an M dash so that it doesn't count as a space or a
Yeah.
word, and you don't have to use a comma and all this stuff. And it's like it's this just screams AI to me. So
Yeah, be very,
again,
very careful in everything.
yeah,
You're right. You're right.
because
Even
that's
in
what they're
one
going to do. They're going to
sentence.
use all the shortcuts that they can. So,
Yeah, yeah. You know what? You're right. And now that I think of it, again, if you paste it, AI will be as lazy as us. It'll probably change the first sentence, and like you said, you'll put this kind of dash instead of a space. Bam, admissions are reading your essay and you're falling in the first sentence, although the next 400 words are original. So yeah, be very careful of using AI and more careful on the first or second sentence, because that's the entrance to your application.
yeah. So I really like that you kind of gave this distinction is it helps it's the difference between using AI as an author versus using it as a helper. So this is your authentic story and you want to make sure that it stays right at the center of the page and it doesn't start shifting just because AI said it should.
Correct.
So let's move on and start talking about schools and how we navigate the gray area here. So, let's talk about the rules, right? Because it's a bit of a wild west out here. As an admissions consulting firm, we monitor this closely and kind of know what the different schools are saying. But some of them have different policies. Some schools, like Stanford and Stern, they explicitly warn against using generative AI to draft your application or your materials. They want unassisted authenticity. And then on the other hand, schools like Wharton and Duke are a bit more, I guess I would say, like pragmatic. They acknowledge AI is here, people are using it day to day, but they require for you to certify that the final content is your original content or original
Yeah.
work. How should candidates handle these different policies when writing or applying for like 4 to 5 different schools? How do you handle this?
Okay. Let me start by saying the question is not relevant.
No. Thanks,
Sorry, Jen.
Shimri.
Sorry. Let me ruin all that. Who cares? And I'll explain why. If you're not using AI to write your essays, so it's so easy. Who cares if the policy says you are allowed to use AI, or have you used AI? Please tick here, or please don't use AI and tick here that you acknowledge that you haven't used it. Okay, don't let AI write it for you. Don't let AI lead the strategy for you. You're covered in whatever policy there is. Okay, so I'm starting with that. I spoke very strongly. I love AI. I love you, but don't use AI for your MBA applications. Okay, now putting that aside, because we all use AI, we just throw it in AI, just do a spell check, just do a grammar check, just check, just help me cut down by one word, whatever. So now, yes, you need to kind of check the school specifics. You can even look at the frequently asked questions. Usually in the online application, there is, in the last few years, the schools have added something. There's some kind of declaration, I didn't use AI tools, or like you said, there's some schools which there's a different declaration, I used AI tools, but I stand behind what I wrote. So again, if you listen to what I've been saying in the last 15 minutes, this isn't an issue because you're going to say, oh, I haven't used AI at all, or I used AI for editing, but it's definitely 100% um, my work. If I look kind of again, I don't want to underestimate AI, and AI can be a wonderful tool, just not for writing the essays and the CV. Okay, but definitely for your interview. Good example. Again, if you're using a service like ours, we have thousands of interview questions from all schools and we do interview prep, etc. But if you're not, go into AI and say, what did Harvard ask in the last MBA interviews? Amazing, AI will give you 100 questions. I'm assuming 90 of them are real questions from Harvard. That's a good thing. I'm not sure I would trust, playing with AI and giving your answers and his feedback, but at least for practicing, I think that's good.
Yeah.
If you want to highlight something specific and you want to do some research, if you want to check out, if you have an idea for a career goal, for a project, and you want to do some research, I think AI has replaced old search engines, and definitely you can use AI. But again, like we said, don't use AI to strategize, don't use AI to write your essays, and I think you're fine with all the policies in the different schools. But check them out just to make sure that you don't do anything beyond what they're asking.
Okay, so I accidentally almost muted you, so I hope that you can speak. Nope, I muted you. Sorry, Shimmery. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, thank you. Sorry about that. Okay, so I wanted to add here, sorry,
Yeah,
real quick, like I think we've seen some schools adapting to this, really, like Kellogg with their whole one essay, five videos, like
yeah.
that's a lot, right? Like
Yeah, and that's new for
is
this year. That's new.
yeah,
So instead of three essays, I think there were 500 words each. They've decided to have one essay, and again, it's still. I haven't seen many other changes. And Harvard actually did the opposite. Instead of one essay 2 years ago, they moved to three essays. But that's a
yeah,
question: will schools shorten the written application and move to more kind of video essays? And Kira, which is the company who do video essays, have started doing also kind of written on the spot prompts. So you have to kind of write answers on the spot. You can't use AI, you can't cheat. So will schools move to that, or will schools say no? If you want to use AI and you want to send me a generic essay, do it. Great. We have thousands of applications. I would love to screen yours out and work on someone else's. So, we're not sure yet. Schools also not sure yet. Like we said, they're using detection tools, but they don't really care about the detection tools. They care about getting the best applicants with a human voice. So it's going to be interesting.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like last year, Chicago added a picture, right? You can't exactly put a picture. Well, I guess you could now, but you can't put, it's
You
really hard
can
to put a picture
technically, yeah,
and put
but
it in and
technically you
say, like,
can, but
tell me
yeah.
how you would respond because it's really just you can't like it's a blank prompt of sorts. So I think it's really interesting. I like this evolution because I do think it really does get to who people are when it comes to the admissions team. So okay, so Shimmer, we've talked a lot. We do have quite a few questions. I'm excited to get to them. And then, so we're going to move to that part of the session. And while we do that, I'm also going to pop up Shimri and I's contact information. So we'll keep this up. And if you want to reach out to either one of us, we are here to help you. You can always schedule a call with either one of us, and we will
Oh,
meet with you and get to know you better on a personal basis. But all right, so
yeah.
first
I think
question.
what Jen is trying to say, send us your CV and your profile and school aspirations and whatever information you want us to comment on, and we can take it from there. Yes.
Okay. So the first one, I think we've kind of answered this quite a bit, but the first question was from Simran, and they're asking if we can use AI for brainstorming and self-reflection.
Yeah, I mean, I think we did, and again, but think carefully. And so the answer is yes. First of all, the answer is yes. You can use AI, and you should use AI. Great, but careful from that. Is it a good idea that I'll say I'll be a McKinsey consultant? Oh, yes, you're so smart. It's a great idea. 5 out of 5 AIs will tell you that, but it just might be what 70% of other MBA applicants are writing. And are you more unique than the 69%, the other 69 people, whatever? I'm not very good at math. So, so just be careful with that. But again, you can do some research on, okay, so product manager, where do post MBAs work as product managers? In what industries? In what companies? Are they recruited straight from the MBA or 2 years later? Is this in startups or in big companies? And then think if your career and your past experience plus the MBA fit this kind of trajectory to this post MBA goals. It should be kind of your decision. AI is there just to give you information, but not to decide for you.
Okay, awesome. So this is like exactly kind of this last question that I had that somebody asked, or not last, but the next
Okay.
question. So if there's many applicants from the same from tech already and they have comparable profiles and career
Yeah.
paths, can AI actually help surface what makes a candidate unique, or does it risk further homogenizing the application?
I think the latter. So I think if 5 people with the same background will use 5 different AIs and give 5 different prompts, right? Like I said, what did I say before? Write like an 18-year-old college or write like a 17-year-old girl that didn't go to college or whatever, right? Like a French, like a French engineer and make a mistake every fourth word. The problem is you're going to get the same story. Probably written very similarly or so, but you're just going to get the same story. And I think, like, what did I write before? Your application should be messy, human, nice. It doesn't have to be perfect. Admissions, we did a whole presentation about AI, and admissions don't look for this perfect writing. They look for a great candidate that will add value to the community. Two different things. Okay, don't write perfectly. So I think definitely if you come from an overrepresented background and you think there's other people with kind of a similar profile to yours, that's even a bigger reason not to use AI. I know it sounds, no, I should use it to make it look perfect. It won't look perfect. It will look generic.
All right. So the next question, and again, like I think we've kind of covered this, but Smirty wants to know, I've written the first draft of my essays, but they're a bit raw. Can I use
Yeah,
AI for polishing them?
yeah.
Again, I don't think we
What
should.
you should answer this, Jen.
Yeah,
Should we?
I don't think that you should use them to polish it because I think it will start to take the edge of who you are off. If you are feeling like you don't have enough substance and you're falling short on content, then maybe you can ask for some things. Like maybe even say like, what are the values of the Kellogg MBA, or those types of things. Like what does the Kellogg MBA admissions team look for in an applicant, right? So then you can say like, okay, so these are the key points that they're looking for. Did I answer all those questions in my essays? Did I infuse this spirit in it enough?
So I'm
Um,
tougher than Jen, and I'm saying don't use AI. I'm just saying don't use it. And Jen's saying something nice. You're saying when you finish the essay, when you finish writing, did I answer everything? Yes or no? Don't give me advice, just tell me yes or no. Or if I didn't, tell me what did I miss, but not how to write it. But I'm saying be very careful. This is exactly the stage of, sorry, I forgot, Jen, cross-functional, spearheaded. What did I
Yeah,
forget?
efficiency.
Efficiency. Come on. This is the exact efficiency cross-functional stage, okay? It's just going to wipe out your story and write a very generic story. And you're going to say, wow, that looks good. And admissions are going to say, wow, let's put that in the bin because I've seen another 50 of these exact words today. So I
Um,
would not use AI, especially not just to polish up my raw formatting.
yeah. You're taking away the character and the rough edges, right?
Yep.
Um, okay, so Steve, he says like, what are the like key giveaways that you've been overcoached or used AI, and what makes this feel like versus what makes this feel like the applicant's real voice? Again, like I think we just keep on saying the same thing in many different ways because you're Gemini and I'm Claude, and we're just
Yeah.
saying it in different ways right now. But in the same thing, like when it starts to become too generic, when it's overusing the same terms that everybody else has used. And so I'm not saying that you need to go to a thesaurus to find your own words and not use those, but you want to make sure that you're telling your authentic story and that it's not starting to be eroded away by, these flashy words.
Yeah. So I did a presentation about why not use AI, and I was thinking, what are the tells? Okay, like, okay, Shimri, but what are the tells? And I think we kind of touched one or two of them. We really didn't touch all of them. I think we discussed kind of the overused buzzwords, right? Cross-functional, pivoted, spearheaded, synergy. Oh, I love synergy. I love it. Impactful. And we kind of said the generic statements with no evidence, right? I think those were two that we've definitely discussed. I have to admit, like, sometimes essays are too perfect, and
Yeah.
then they feel very templated. Okay. Lack of real moments. Okay, and we kind of discussed that in the generically wise essays. If they're just not messy enough, they're not human enough. Um, Again, a lot of kind of grammar things. It's not wording, but there's a lot of these transitions, furthermore, moreover, and it's just not how people speak. Um, and then no like deep stuff. Okay, no, there's very vague reflections. Okay, I learned the importance of teamwork. What does that mean? Okay, like you failed because you trusted someone and you didn't check twice. Just explain how it is. And there's some other things. Okay, like I said, and we speak to hundreds of candidates a year, and a lot send their draft AI essay and whatever. Think admissions sees thousands of these essays every year, thousands of applicants, times a few essays. So they spot all of this from miles.
Okay, perfect. So then, PK, I think we answered your question. Simran has a different type of question. I'm an
Yay.
ed tech entrepreneur, but I want to explore further leadership roles in ed tech after MBA and before starting my new ed tech venture or ed tech VC PE firms. Is
Yep.
it part of an overly represented pool? Or what trajectory would make more sense to adcoms continuing on the current venture or starting a career in corporate, or both are okay considering the story is well written?
Okay, so this is a whole profile assessment question, and great. And Simran, first of all, just here's my email. Just send me your profile if you have a GMAT school wish list. I'm happy to help. Okay, so let's just make it simpler. And the second answer will be a big disappointment. I have no idea, and the reason is what you can do is copy this prompt into AI and ask them what should you do. But a serious, I hope, admission consultant has to take into account many, many, many other factors that you're not mentioning here. Okay, for example, you're an edtech entrepreneur. Is it a 2 year profile, or do you have 2 years experience or 10? Are you the founder? Are you a successful entrepreneur? Are you a failed entrepreneur? Both are good. I'm not judging. Are you an international entrepreneur, or is it a very local entrepreneurship? Okay, it's a very local. Have you had a few businesses or one? What's your undergraduate degree? Are you a woman or a man? Are you from India or from Japan? There's so many factors here. Do you have leadership experience? Do you have international experience? Did you work before in an international company? So there's so many factors here which I don't know about you, which again, if you just, this is such a great example. If you put your prompt into AI, you'll get a very quick generic answer. Sorry, I won't give you this very quick generic answer. So I don't know if you are overrepresented pool or not overrepresented pool. Generally speaking, edtech entrepreneurs are not overrepresented, but maybe you're a white male NASDAQ guy or Indian male engineer. I don't know. Which definitely there are a lot of these kinds of candidates. So again, send me your, feel free to send me your CV, GMAT, school wish list, timeline of application, and we can take it from there.
Okay. All right. So we're at the end of the Q&A or questions that have been asked. We'll leave the chat open, and if you guys have additional questions, absolutely go ahead and post them in there. We have a little bit more time, but we're getting closer to the end. And so I just wanted to say, like, if you didn't get a specific question answered or you didn't want to put it in the chat, that's totally fine. We do these monthly chats because we want to give you actionable guidance in real time. But if you want an honest, expert, or confidential look at your specific profile, like Shimri was just talking about, we can talk about your ideas and how you frame your unique story. You can click the link that I will drop in the chat box in just a second for a free profile evaluation with our team. And we're here to help, right? Obviously, like, we've been in the business for about 20 years. And so we know these schools inside and out. We know how to help clients tailor their application to these schools. And we also, I would say, know how to get around the AI side of it, right? Like, we know that what an adcom would see and think, oh, this is not you. Yeah. Anyways, so
Yeah,
I dropped
we
a
try
link
not
in
to use
the
AI, and
profile.
we try to write everything authentically and yeah, manually and humanly. Yes.
Yeah. So closing words of advice from you, Shimri, before we jump into final
I
questions.
I loved it. I think we touched everything. Again, uniqueness is your greatest strength and asset in the process. Okay, so don't let this, AI dilute what you are trying to say and what makes you special. So keep it human, keep it authentic, and see you in the next session.
Yes. So that is my next little piece of information, is to share that
Uh-huh.
our next topic is Stellar Round 1 MBA application in 50 days. So you don't want to miss that. That's going to be on July the 17th. When we finish this session and it loads and gets up to the YouTube, I will send out a recap and a link to rewatching this, but I'll also send out a link to the next coffee chat so you can join us. And I know that I've spoken with quite a few people who are here today. So, thanks for coming, and it's really great to kind of see you virtually in the participants box, so to say. So thanks for joining us. And if we haven't chatted yet, I'd love to chat. I do that a little bit too much, maybe, to Shimri's liking, but we really want to get to know you and help you with your applications. Okay. Final question. Sneha says, how to use AI for creative writing for application essay? How would you use AI differently to stand out from the beginning of writing the essay? A workflow example would help.
I would just, sorry, I'm just
Yeah.
against using AI for creative writing application essays. And I would not use AI to differentiate how to stand out from the very beginning of writing your essay. So I just, and I love the fact that you're asking for a workflow or framework, which would again become very, very generic. So I can see the temptation there. Write me a 500-word essay about my failure that this morning I forgot my shoelace in the car, whatever. And it will write a perfectly nice written essay, but it won't get you into an M7 or top 15 school. So if you write it by yourself, your chances, work with us, work with experts, which manually review, edit, work with you on your application, your chances will be higher because your application will be unique. And actually, AI is amazing because 90% or 80% of applicants weren't on this call today, and they will be using AI and you won't. Okay, so think about it like that. Everybody's using AI. I actually won't use AI. I'm going to work harder, but I'm going to be unique. So that's my advice.
I love it. Okay. Thanks everyone for joining us. Again, I'll follow up with emails, but you let us know if you have questions, email Shimri or I. I'll put our information back up for the last few seconds, but
Thanks for having me
let
again.
me know if you have questions and we'll see you on our next call. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, guys.